Usapang kalusugan sa Health Check Plus. Alamin ang mga payong medikal mula sa mga totoong eksperto. Ang kaalaman ay kapangyarihan. Usapang kalusugan sa Health Check Plus.
Magandang araw, Pilipinas. Ako po si Attorney Mimi Campos Banayat dito sa Usapang Kalusugan sa Health Check Plus. MECQ na po dito sa Metro Manila, Rizal, Cavite, Laguna at Bulacan, maging ang Quirino, Abra, Santiago City sa Isabela ay ganon din hanggang katupusan ng Abril. 8 munisipalidad at isang lungsod sa La Union ay iniligay din sa MECQ na lokal na pamahalaan mula Abril 12 hanggang Abril 26. Sinabi po ng tagapagsalita ng Pangulo na isa sa mga kritikal na dahilan sa pagbaba ng lockdown status mula ECQ sa MECQ ay dahil pumayag ang mga ospital na dagdagan ang mga COVID-19 beds, particular ang mga ICU beds. Ito naman ay dahil pinag-utos ng Pangulo na bayaran na ng PhilHealth ang unpaid COVID-19 claims ng mga ospital. Alam po natin na maraming ospital sa NCR ang hindi na tumatanggap ng mga pasyenteng COVID-19 dahil punuan na sila. Ipinaliwanag ni Dr. Jaime Almora, Pangulo ng Philippine Hospital Association, ang kalagayan ng mga ospital sa ating panayam sa kanya dito sa Health Check Plus noong nakaraang linggo. Ngayong araw, kasama po natin ang eksperto mula sa OCTA. Parati po nating nababasa at naririnig ang OCTA kapag pinag-uusapan ng COVID-19, pero marami po sa atin ang hindi alam kung ano pang ibig sabihin nito at kung ano ang ginagawa ng grupo. Alamin po natin ang mga kasagutan mula mismo kay Professor Ranjit Rai, Assistant Professor ng Political Science at dating Assistant Vice President for Public Affairs sa University of the Philippines. Magandang araw po, Professor Ranjit.
Magandang araw sa inyo lahat at sa mga nanonood at nakikinig po sa atin.
Yes, sir. Sir, Prof, bago po tayo magsimula, pwede po ninyo pong explain ano nga po yung OCTA?
Okay. Yung OCTA, well, unfortunately, there's nothing complex about OCTA. It's just 8 because we started as 8 researchers from the University of the Philippines 2019. Ang pakay namin is to start a research group and a group that will provide an alternative voice sa public opinion research sa bansa. That was our original goal. But it was latter part of 2019 and we decided okay, let's push our projects for 2020. Then COVID came. And a lot of us wanted to contribute in UP to the UP effort to make sense of this pandemic. And so Professor Guido David and I started a study group in UP. And our researchers were paid for by whatever funds we were able to cull from OCTA. So that's why it started as a UP study group. And the UP study group, there are 2 groups in UP. There are 2 very big groups in UP. The biggest one is, of course, the UP Pandemic Research Group, which has more than 100. It's a very prestigious group, very good group. Kami naman po, kami yung kumbaga ba sa laro ng basketball, kami Team B, no? Hindi kami kasama kasi sa grupo na yon. Nagtayo kami na amin and we wanted to go a different direction. And so we started April 8. So naka 1 year na kami. Naka 1 year anniversary na kami. And our goal was you have to understand this, UP faculty members are supposed to contribute around 15% of their time to public service. And at that time, COVID, March 2020, the COVID had just started. And we were all thinking, how can we contribute to the collective fight? While we're not part of the other group, why don't we start our own study group? And Professor David's only requirement was we need to get funding for researchers. So we could not generate our funds from UP, so we decided to get it from OCTA. But since there are 2 UP teams, Professor David and I decided let's distinguish ourselves as UP-OCTA so that when we come out with the results, we can be easily differentiated from the results that came out from the other team. So we were doing very well with this, and for some, for a very good reason, because our model was robust. It was the simplest model being used in the country today, SIR. And it turned out to be very predictive. Our projections were on track all the time. And then later on, we began to collaborate So the team is built around the concept of interdisciplinarity. So interdisciplinary. Importante ho yun na hindi lang mga dalubhasa galing sa natural sciences, dapat kasama ho ang mga dalubhasa galing sa social sciences. So I don't consider myself, I've never considered myself an expert on COVID until today. I'm just a student of the social sciences, of public policy and program administration, of public administration, learning from the experts, the epidemiologists who are part of our team, the mathematicians. So my role is to try to craft policy out of the data that comes out. So we decided that's the way to go, interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary, and then interinstitutional, because we met, and this is good of God, through God's plan, we met Father Nicanor Austriaco, PhD from MIT and visiting professor from the US at UST. And we also met his counterpart, Mr. Bernard Eggwolf, also from UST, and Dr. Benjamin Ko, infectious disease expert for pediatrics, infectious disease expert at UST Med. So, it was a meeting of minds, and we began to develop a strong relationship with our PGH colleagues, Michael T, and others, no? And so we decided, let's drop UP, okay, since we have we have a lot of UST also and a lot of UP. So we decided to go Okta. And Okta on September 2020 decided to become a legitimate corporation, no? So it was only in 2020. All of this started with the study group. So we got our mayor's permit last September 2020. So this is how we started. And our goal is, while we are still focused on doing public policy research, while we're still focused on polling, no, public opinion research, that at the moment the priority is to contribute to studying the state of COVID-19 in the country, and we're doing this for free. Nobody is paying us. We're not getting funding from anyone, and we've decided to continue what we started in April 8, to provide free data analytics for the country. Are we the only ones providing this? No, of course. There's a lot of people doing this also, a lot of groups, and we just want to simply contribute as citizens of this country to the collective effort or fight against COVID-19, and we do it through research. And so this is a continuing advocacy, and we will do this until we overcome and prevail against this horrible pandemic.
Yes po. Thank you. So, Prof. Ranjit, pupunta na po ako dun po sa gusto natin pag-usapan about COVID-19. Dahil po meron po kayo mga projections nga from Okta, and based po sa inyong pag-aaral, as of date, ano pong naging epekto ng ECQ when we had the ECQ in NCR Plus, and ano po yung nakikita niyo pong resulta by April 30? In relation po sa ECQ.
Okay, so unang-una, kailangan natin bigyan ng konteksto. Nagkaroon tayo ng surge that started around Feb. Surge in new cases po. Para makita niyo yung extent ng surge na to. Yung surge na to unique kasi napaka contagious ho ng mga variants na nagda-drive ng surge po. At marami siya, hindi lang siya iisa. Hindi lang siya yung B117 na galing UK, meron pa siyang P3 na locally na mutation, no, at developed locally, na napaka-bilis makahawa. Okay, so yan ang konteksto. Just to give you an idea in numbers, nung January nag-average lang ang National Capital Region ng 500 cases a day. Yan, napakababa niyan. Alam niyo po ngayon 5,000 cases. Now let me repeat that. January lang 500 cases, pagdating ng March 5,000 cases. Napakalaki po ng pagtaas. Napakabilis, in less than a month, na kumalat ng pandemya, na undermine lahat ng ating achievements noong 2020. Bukod dyan, it did and will continue to cost lives. Now na nag-ECQ tayo, it costs livelihoods. So ito yung context po. So when we were doing, and Okta was at the forefront, no, of monitoring this surge. So yun yung konteksto. And
Yes.
right now, we were a big supporter of the ECQ kahit na alam natin na maraming nahirapan sa ating mga kababayan kasi nga ang goal ngayon, priority number one, is not to open the economy but to deal with the surge. So did the ECQ work? It worked. Okay? Did it cost us an arm and a leg? Yes. But it also helped save lives. Okay? Maraming hong dapat pang namatay kung hindi tayo nag-ECQ. Mas malaki pa ang daily cases natin o papalo kung between 18 to 30,000 ang estimate namin. Kung wala tayong ginawa, ay talagang madali natin maaabot. Okay? Yung herd immunity dito sa NCR. Imagine that 7 million cases dito by June. Kung wala tayong ginawa. So think about it. Malaki ho ang role ng gobyerno dito. They made a good what you call this decision to have a 2-week ECQ. Bakit? Kamo. Yung reproduction number natin na alam naman natin, di ba? Pag above 1, kumakalat ang virus. Pag below 1, maayos kasi slowly humihina at namamatay na yung virus. Noong January ho, naglalaro po yung ating reproduction number between 0.9 and 1. Okay? Mababa. Okay siya. Pag kasagsagan ng pagtaas ng surge which was around March, first week of March, nasa 2 na. So ibig sabihin sa bawat ranjitry na mahawaan, 2 kagad ang mahahawa niya. Ibig sabihin mabilis kung makakalat ho yung virus. After the ECQ ho, bumalik tayo sa 1.19. So malapit na sa 1. So ang projection namin after the 2 weeks MECQ, below 1 na tayo. At doon lang tayo sa below 1, makakita talaga ng slow improvement po doon sa case numbers natin sa daily. Now, ano yung daily natin? 5,000. Madali bang pababain yan? Pag bumaba yung R below 1, bababa yan slowly over a period of 3 to 4 weeks. Now, pag bumaba yan, malaki ba implikasyon? Napakalaki. Siyempre, hindi na mapupuno yung mga hospital natin kasi sa 5,000 araw-araw, sabihin natin 100 dyan pupunta sa ospital. Mapupuno at mapupuno yung hospital natin kasi may finite lang yung resources eh. So simpleng-simple po yung pananaw. Hindi ka kailangan maging doktor para intindihin na may laban tayo dito, kailangan natin pababain yung pagkalat at meron lahat tayong role. Excuse me, meron tayong lahat role dito sa pagbaba ng COVID-19.
Yes po. Sir, Prof. Ranjit, sinabi niyo po kasi kanina about the effect of the ECQ will be seen after 3 to 4 weeks. So, makikita po natin to by April 30 pa, yung effect po ng pagbaba sa R?
Hindi pa nga bumababa yung R. We're only expecting it to go down around April 30. Kasi nga, kung hindi tayo nag-ECQ, kung nag-ECQ tayo extension for another week, most likely nakababa na yung R below 1 by this week. And dahil lang MECQ tayo, it takes 2 weeks kasi mas mabagal yung proseso pag MECQ. So Prof, we project na bababa to below 1 sa April 30. And then doon tayo from then on, doon na tayo makakita ng slow progress.
Opo. Prof, kasi na-mention nyo pa about yung decision to lower the quarantine status to MECQ. Before I go to the concept of herd immunity, sang-ayon po ba kayo sa pagbaba ng quarantine status natin sa MECQ?
Well, our first option was really an ECQ extension. Pero of course, maraming ibang considerations ng gobyerno. Binabalanse sila ang buhay at kabuhayan. So, nag-MECQ tayo. Ang inaasahan namin MEC, yung mas strictong version ng MECQ. But then again, meron tayong almost 3 weeks na MECQ until the end of the month. We're hoping na that will slow down the R and magkaroon ng konting dent sa cases. We're seeing that. It's now less than 5,000 pero ganun pa rin po, 4,000 pa rin eh. So dahil limited yung ating hospital capacity, we will expect na in the next 2 weeks puno pa rin yung hospital natin.
Yes po. Sige po, yun po yung effect ng MECQ. So, last question po, Professor Ranjit. Sinabi po kasi dati ng ating vaccine czar na they expect cases to rise by June. And given po yung inability to procure ng needed vaccines po ng ating government, so una po, what do you think the government should do immediately to prevent another surge anticipated by, yun po, sinabi po ni Secretary Galvez? And based po dun sa procurement, yung gaano katagal or kabilis ang ating procurement, at saka so hence the availability of the bakuna, kailan po natin sa tingin nyo maabot ang sinasabing herd immunity?
Siguro, in 2-3 years time.
Okay po.
So, hindi
Opo.
natin, ang usapan ng herd immunity, masalimuot na usapin niya kasi usapin niya ng supply ng vaccine. Now, if we want 70 to 75%, depending on the variants that we have, no?
Yes.
Kung mas malupit ang variants, kailangan mas marami tayong taong babakunahan. Ibig sabihin, that's easily, 50 to 100 million doses eh. Tama ba? Kasi if it's herd immunity, that's 70 million pala. 70
This year
million
po, opo.
Filipinos o 70 million Filipinos. I doubt if we're going to do it this year. Okay, we don't have the supply. Yun po ang problema ho eh. Wala tayong supply. Kahit na nandyan yung pera at gusto natin, wala ho tayong makukuha na supply na 70 million for 70 million vaccinations. And right now, ang pumapasok, 1-2 million. Meron tayong papasok ng bulto ng less than 20 million siguro by June to August. So matagal pa ho yung herd immunity, lalampas tayo ng 2-3 taon. Habang next Monday tapos na yung UK. May herd immunity na sila. Pero hindi naman ibig sabihin pag may herd immunity tapos na ang COVID, vulnerable pa rin tayo sa mga surges. Now, dahil wala tayong supply, dahil atrasado yung ating vaccine, dahil wala nga tayong magawa, dahil wala tayong supply, vulnerable ho ang NCR to surges. Yun ang ibig sabihin ni General Galvez about surges. We're vulnerable because we cannot vaccinate large portions of our population, and that's why we have to constantly be vigilant and prepared. It must be noted na yung we're still in the midst of a surge. Right now, hindi pa natatapos yung surge na to. At very easily, habang nakikita namin, pababa na, very easily pwedeng umangat na naman, mag-reverse. Kung magpapabaya tayo, kung magkukumpiyansa tayo, kung hindi tayo mag-iingat at hindi tayo magiging maagap laban sa COVID.
Opo. So, maraming salamat po, Professor Ranjit Rai. At sa Okta po, sana po makausap po namin kayo ulit na mas matagal. Napakahalaga po ng ipinaliwanag niyo sa amin sa ating programa today. Alam po natin na marami sa atin na nangangailangan ng tamang impormasyon sa panahong ito. Mag-ingat po kayo at sana mabigyan tayong lahat ng lakas para harapin ang matinding hamon na dulot ng COVID-19. Huwag po kayong bibitaw.
I'm sorry.
Yes,
maraming salamat sa inyo at sa pag-imbita na sa amin. Ang panghuli namin talaga ay nasa atin ang laban ng COVID. Mag-iingat lagi tayo. Lagi natin susundan yung minimum public health standards. Kung hindi tayo kailangan lumabas, stay at home tayo. At malalampasan rin natin to. Kung basta may bayanihan, malalampasan natin lahat ang hamon natin sa ating panahon.
Napakagandang message po. Maraming salamat po ulit sa inyo. At sa ating mga tagapakinig at tagapanood, wag po kayong bibitaw. Wellness tips, susunod na.